Hey everyone, thank you for joining me for our weekly ANTS team training. My name is Georgiana, and today we're going to be discussing a topic that I kind of just thought of in our post football Super Bowl hype. And the title of tonight's discussion the title of tonight's discussion is going to be, are you playing to win or playing yourself? So we kind of talk about a lot on these training calls, the mind games that we play with ourselves and the ways that we have to overcome different obstacles. And sometimes those obstacles that we have are internal. They're roadblocks that we put up for ourselves. They're narrow belief windows that we built around ourselves, and they basically just keep us inside of our box. They keep us from excelling and succeeding and getting to the next point in our business. So sometimes success just looks like overcoming all of these different obstacles and overcoming all of these various roadblocks, more so than what we think success looks like, which is, driving down a smooth highway in a nice car with the top down and the wind blowing in your hair. Sometimes it's flat tires and, potholes and the whole nine. Forgetting to put gas in your car or, whatever, these little things. So tonight's discussion is going to be focused on not so much the games we play with ourselves. I'm going to be kind of doing that for another discussion, but some of the ways that you can set yourself up for success in drawing from similarities that we see in sports like football. So we had a big upset this weekend. I know there's some sports fans out there that are kind of going to be like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. But it's the end of an era that just, like Rome, just had to fall. No sadness here for me. I'm kind of one of those people who are like, good. So fresh start, new team, we're gonna make this win. But one of the things that I loved about this game this weekend, I didn't watch the whole game. I'm that person who catches the highlights and just sort of tunes in sporadically to see what's happening so I can get an overall gist of it. But my brother's a football player, so he was there to keep us in the loop. I am not the person who understands football and football terminology. I used to watch for the crunch. But just hearing about the progress of the game, it was, one of those things that was interesting to watch. And I'm going to spare you guys the whole discussion about football here. But I'm going to just pull some ideas that I kind of took as inspiration when I was thinking of tonight's topic of discussion and thinking how I always tell you guys to look for similarities with your business and in other areas of your life or of the world. And I like to compare this business to other businesses. And I often find myself comparing it to sports, not so much because of the competitiveness, but because of the determination and the mindset that it takes to be a winner in sporting activities tends to be very similar to this business. And I like to use sports as an analogy a lot of times because in sports it isn't even like in games you're going head to head like boxing or wrestling where you're like physically fighting an opponent. Usually boxing has kind of gone south over the last few years, but usually there's a feeling of camaraderie, of respect. Even football, we're sort of losing apparently some of the respect that used to come with one team for another. So I usually like to use sports for those reasons. It's not backstabbing, cutthroat, corporate America type of atmosphere. It's usually even though this person's my opponent, I respect them as a player. And a lot of times in these games, like football, team members and teammates get transferred all around. So someone that you're playing against one year could actually be on your team the next year. So, there's a little bit of flexibility. And I'm sure that they have their hatred and animosity. I could think of one particular player that everybody's kind of just tired of. So, I know it's not perfect, but, the overall atmosphere, it tends to be one of positivity. So that's why I kind of like to look at sports and draw inspiration from that. So today we're going to be talking shop. We're going to be hanging out with the boys and talking some sports a little bit as far as my understanding of sports goes. So while I get in, I'm actually going to do things a little bit different today. Usually we start off with our wins for the week and we give it 15 to 20 minutes of discussion. I'm actually going to save that for the end. So today I'm actually going to dive into our topic of discussion, but I still expect you guys to post and share your wins for the week in the comments box. And for some reason last week I had a bit of a glitch. The conversation was popping in the chat box. I was so excited to see you guys talking and sharing with each other and encouraging each other. That's what we like here. And of course, the one night that it happens, my chat box just wasn't scrolling. So it was after I closed the stream and went back in, after I posted, I could see, everything that everyone was talking about and sharing. So I think I fixed that this time. So I'll be able to hopefully comment and keep up the conversation with you guys. So keep your comments coming. I'm watching and I'll be sharing, and I see you guys having that discussion amongst each other. So that is great. So quickly, before I dive in, I want to just do a quick shout out to those of you who joined, who are here bright and early and on time. Miss Janet, thank you for joining. Miss Kathleen, hello, how are you? Why, thank you, girl. It's all Avon. Hey, Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel is also a beauty beater. This girl can beat a face. Anitra and Michelle, thank you guys for joining. So while you guys get going with your wins for the week, I'm going to go ahead and dive into our topic of discussion, which, as I said earlier, is going to be, are you playing to win or just playing yourself? So this is a kind of a question I ask myself often, because I tend to, I know myself, and I know I need to keep myself in check. I sometimes can share with you guys things like, oh, you play these mind games with yourself. You say you want to do this, but then you actually do that. I can talk to you about this because this is what I do myself. I am a pro at procrastination. I am a pro at playing myself. My mind just is like a chess game going on in here, where I'm like, I want to set myself up and do all these things and get ahead. And my brain, like the left side of my brain is like, yeah, let's do this. And the right side of the brain is like, yeah, let's do that. But let's play video games first. So I am a pro at trying to play myself, so to speak. So what I try to do is I try to set up systems for myself where I can correct myself and check myself and, keep myself in check. And I'm going to share, I was actually, as I thought this out, I was kind of like, okay, wow, I really see some similarities, because this is my life. This is what I do. And these are the things that I try to train myself on. So again, I really like sports as a what do you call it, an example of the mindset that you should have. So when you're thinking about your business, we always say things like, this is a marathon, not a sprint. We talk about building up your resistance like you would if you were a swimmer or a boxer, basically anything that involves sports. And now we've started this Aspira Health and Wellness line. So we're talking about, how we want our bodies to be in balance, and we're with Aspira, we're talking about feeling lighter and healthier and having more energy. And in the same way, you want your business to also be, not bogged down by the regular day-to-day. You want to be efficient. You want to work your business well, and you want to be in a frame of mind where you're happy and you're enjoying what you're doing. So there are always a lot of similarities between sports and business. So sometimes when you guys, the next time you're watching a sporting game, or you're over, when you're listening to a sports conversation, take a minute, see what they're talking about, and see if you could apply it to your business just for fun. You might catch yourself playing yourself in a couple of situations. So here we go. Let's go through 3 things that will help you to keep from playing yourself. So things that you can watch out for when your mind is trying to play tricks on your own mind. So the first thing that I drew, the first parallel that I drew between our business and football was with football players, we will watch the games. We'll watch the Super Bowl. If you're like me, you're watching one game a year, which is the Super Bowl. And if you're a big fan, you're watching the games that they have. But that game, that show, what you're watching isn't where the most important stuff happens. The most important thing happens before they get out on the field. It happens before they even get suited up. It happens before the day of the game. It's something that is ongoing for months or maybe even years. And it's not something that they wake up one morning and say, okay, I'm going to win today, and I'm just going to roll out of bed and I'm going to get going. It's their mindset to win, sometimes from not even the beginning of the year, but childhood. A lot of these guys, a lot of these players started in this profession. I mean, more so because they retire at such an early age, because it's so damaging to their body. But a lot of them start at an early age, and they say from the beginning, I want to, be the next Super Bowl champion, or I want to be a player on the best team in the world, which is the Jets or the Giants. Somebody from New York. Can I get an amen? Uh, so, they decide from a young age that this is what they want to do. It's very hard for a person at 52 to say, you know what? I want to be the next sports football superstar. It's not that it's too late. It is definitely possible, but it's better, sooner rather than later, right? So same thing in our business. A lot of us are sort of testing our business to see if it might possibly turn into something that's sort of kind of successful. We have basically one foot in and one foot out, and that is not the way to begin. The way to begin is, I'm in it for the long haul. I'm ready to succeed. I am not testing anything. I always say to you guys, I repeat that phrase that Darren Hardy shared with us at Avon Rep Fest in Florida 3 to 4 years ago, because it resonated with me so much. But he said, choose your mountain. Pick your mountain and be determined to get to the top or die trying. It sounds morbid, I know, but when you set your focus like that, then you're like, look, this right here is my mountain. No more of this, oh, I want to try this mountain over here. That mountain over there looks kind of good. You know what? I'm going to take a break from this mountain for the next 3 years and I'll come back to it. No, your goal is to get to the top of that mountain, and that's all that you're focused on. So it's the same thing with these football players. They have a goal to get to, whatever level, either to play on the team. I know that the younger guys, they're waiting to be drafted for, they're going through the whole draft pick system where they want to be picked by one of these bigger NFL teams, where they go from playing for maybe college football, and now they want to go on to the NFL. Sometimes they don't get into the NFL, so they go out of the country to get onto another team. But they want to play pro football, and that's what they set their mind on doing, and that's how they plan out their action steps in their life along the way. They go to a college that has maybe good football. They find a good coach so that they could train with him. They have the right eating, exercise, and practicing habits so that their body is in good shape for their profession. And it's the same thing that we have to do with our business. We work with our coaches. We make good plans. We put into our bodies, our business, the things that our businesses need to survive and thrive on, because we don't want to have the draft go by and we don't get picked. We don't want our customers and our teammates to come and we're not ready to coach them or mentor them or train them. We don't want to encounter the potential customers and recruits and not be, in the right space or the right frame of mind to cater to those customers. So we need to make our game plan ahead of time. Not just having the physical conditioning, not just having the mindset to win, but we also need to have that game plan that says, okay, these are the things that I'm going to do to get further along in my business. And it's not going to be, this is a 2-week turnaround type of thing. This might be a 6 months, a year, a 5-year plan. For me, I tend to work on like a 5 or 10-year plan. Where do I want to be in the future? And I work backwards from there. And I've shared this with you guys a lot. I journal a lot because my journal helps me. I'm not really a journaling person. I wasn't, but I don't do it for the fun of it. I know some people write because it's a nice way to get their feelings out and stuff. I journal because I've realized that in my business, when I'm writing my goals down, when I'm writing my action steps down each and every day, it keeps it at the forefront of my mind and I can work harder and I'm more focused on working towards my goals. Otherwise, I'll wake up in the morning like, what do I do today? I kind of wanted to do this and I kind of wanted to do that, and I spend sometimes an hour or 2 hours just figuring out what I'm going to do for the day. And then, or days when I'm at work, I'll say, oh, I need to do this, this, and this. And then when I get home, I'm like, I am exhausted. I'm going to take a nap. And I don't even remember the things that I had to do. But when I have my journal, which is in my purse, when I have my journal, I refer back to it. That becomes my game plan. That becomes where I keep referring to for information. What do I need to do today? What are the three top things on my list that I set out to complete today, to consider today a success? Did I do them? When I get home at night, before I go into bed, and sometimes there are those days where I'm like, I just need to put head to pillow. Before I do that, I go back to my journal and say, did I get everything? Is there anything I'm missing? Sometimes there is. Sometimes it's 12 o'clock and I remember, to go back to my journal and check, and there was someone that I was supposed to call, or a meeting that I was supposed to attend. I move it to the next day and do it the next day. But if I don't do that, then I won't remember what needs to be done. If I don't keep referring back to that game plan, my roadmap, then I get lost. In the same way that, if you're a player on the field and the coach is making signals to you and telling you you need to do, and you're kind of like, yeah, that guy over there, he's just waving like a madman. I really don't care what he has to say. I'm just going to do my own thing. You'll get lost in the shuffle of the game. Not only that, but your teammates, they're following the coach. You're on your own. The plays will never work because you guys aren't working together. But we're going to get to that a little bit later on. So you have to have your game plan and you have to refer to it often. In the same way that a player refers to what the coach says, or the other players on the field refer to what the quarterback, what instructions the quarterback gives them, you need to refer to your game plan and journal your goals. I really recommend journaling your goals. And I know you may be a person who's like me, who's resistant, who may not want to get into that, but I really recommend it because I have seen a difference in my business. When I'm writing my journaled goals, when I'm writing things down and referring back to them and making my action steps and my weekly plan, Sunday night laying out what I'm going to do for the week, and then, daily going back, I do better. Trust me, I don't do it because I like it. I do it because I know if I don't, stuff will fall through the cracks and this will be a losing game. So, also attend the classes. We at Avon are really blessed because Avon provides a lot of training tools and a lot of materials to us as representatives for free. I know a lot of companies don't do that, and I know a lot of professions don't do that. In my daytime profession, my career as an architectural designer, a lot of the classes that I would take for continuing education or just to know how to work the programs that I'm using, a lot of them are not free. A lot of them are stuff that I pay for, but I pay for them because that education helps me in my career. Here at Avon, we have so much free stuff, and it pains me to see how few people are actually attending and actually, participating. Because I'm like, this is free stuff. Not because Avon likes to just have a high count, not because Avon likes to, spend a lot of money renting hotels or webinars or social media professionals and experts in various fields. They don't like, it's not like Avon is just saying, who's the most expensive person that we can hire to come out to talk to an empty room. They do it because they want us as representatives to succeed. And if we as representatives want to succeed, we should be getting plugged in and doing these things as well. And nowadays with social media, it's so much better because you can, let's say you're not available at a time where a webinar or a meeting happens. 95% of what is being put out there now is recorded for you to go back and watch later on. The point is for you to watch and learn so that this information can help you. Otherwise, if you're not taking it in, if you're not paying attention to what the coach is saying, if you're not listening to the quarterback, if you're not listening to your doctors, then you'll end up falling behind. You'll end up getting weaker in your business. Your strength and the possibility to succeed decreases. And I say this a lot, not to put anyone down, but a lot of times I go to events and I'll meet up with the person who, this is the one event that they've attended for the year. This is the first time they're coming for the year and the last time they're not going to be coming back. And a lot of times the things that they talk about, I'm like, where have you been for the last 3 weeks? Have you not opened your orders? Have you not checked on youravon.com? Do you not read what's on the What's New? Have you not attended any of the webinars? Are you not on Facebook? Do you not follow the posts that are happening? I'm like, there's so many sources of information. How could you have missed that? Are you like, is your head under the sand? And I get being busy because don't forget, guys, I started Avon as a student. So I was in college and I was working part-time. And I know there are a lot of ladies on the team, men and women, I should say, who are on the team who are managing jobs and managing families and managing some people even side careers on top of that. And I always laugh because sometimes I'll meet a person who has maybe Avon is their only source of income. It's the only thing that they're doing, and completely clueless, no idea what's happening. And I'll meet a person who's holding down 3 or 4 jobs and a family and a kid and a husband, and they are like so on point with everything because it has nothing to do with where they are, but it has everything to do with their mindset. And I thought about this game on Saturday because here we are, the Eagles and the Patriots. Patriots having, won what freaking Tom Brady has like 5 Super Bowl championships. The team has been like the team to beat. And here come the Eagles. When's the last time they won anything? If they had gotten out on that field, like, oh, well, we're not going to get anywhere with this. We're going against the Patriots. These guys always win, and we never do. So we kind of know how this game is going to go. So we're not going to, put in any effort. This is already planned out. We know who we are, and we know who they are. So we're just going to leave things as they are in this comfort level. This would have been a very different game. I mean, I love a underdog rising to the top kind of story. So these guys, they went out there and they played to win. They had their head in the game. They had practice. They put all their resources into winning. They weren't just like, us underdogs, we don't really do this winning thing. They weren't looking at the Patriots and saying, well, those Patriots, they got Tom Brady. They have the best coach in the world. Maybe they get the best plane with the best seats and the best food and that special water. So they weren't looking at the other team situation and using that to map their own existence and their own being. They said to themselves, we're going to win this, and if not, we're going to do our best to try to win this. And I'm pretty sure they'd even say that, we're going to do our best to try. I'm pretty sure they went out there like, look, we are taking this championship. They have had this for too long. We want it back. We're going to make our people proud. We are going to win. So you have to, if you're watching this, you're probably already ahead of the game because at least you're attending a meeting. And I always am a little bit sad when I have these talks because I feel like the people who need it aren't even watching, so this is not going to do them any good. But I don't know if you could like gently tag a friend, send it to them in a direct message. Like, I don't know. Let me stop talking so that if you do have a friend you need to send this to, they're not going to be like, is this why they sent me this video? Because I'm one of these people who don't attend meetings. But if you are one of those people who maybe you just happen to stumble upon this video, maybe you don't come here every Tuesday, maybe you don't watch any other leaders, maybe you don't attend any of the meetings, then, maybe we're friends on Facebook and this popped up in the corner of your screen and you clicked it wondering what it was. Make it your goal and your passion and your focus to attend as many classes as you can, because those classes and workshops are meant to help you. I would like to see, I'm pretty sure it's mandatory for players to attend the trainings. And I do think it is. I know like in high school, if players didn't attend a certain amount of practices, they weren't allowed to play. If they didn't get a certain level of grades in school, they weren't allowed to play. So I'm pretty sure the same thing exists for adults. But we as representatives, we need to attend a certain amount of classes. We need to do a certain amount of trainings. We need to get plugged in because that's what helps us to succeed. And a lot of times, I love questions, and I always tell you guys, if you have a question, ask it. There really is no stupid question. But a lot of times the questions that we're asking are stuff that was answered in training. So sometimes I'm talking to a new rep and I'm like, I know you haven't been coming to the trainings. I know you haven't been watching, and I know you didn't do Avon University. I know you haven't attended the webinars, and I know you haven't opened your What's New book, because that question was a question that was answered in the book. So, I prefer you ask so I can tell you, but also, if you were plugged in, you would find the answer. So, just to recap, your preparation before, making your game plan, journaling your goals so that they're constantly ahead of you, attending the classes and the workshops, and just doing those things. So the next thing that I want to encourage you guys to is to practice the drills. We were saying, it's important to come out to the practice, but not just to sit on the bench and watch other people doing what needs to be done, but so that you can get that experience. And I know for me, I was terrified of prospecting, of field time, of public speaking, you name it. Like, I was just afraid of everything that had to come with business building in this business because I was a shy person. So it was hard for me. I'm still a shy person, but I've overcome a lot of the stuff that comes with being a shy person. But I remember being afraid of a lot of the things that involve me connecting with other people. I could sit and label brochures and, do online trainings day in, day out. I would flip through the little binders that we got as new representatives. I read through cover to cover all of that stuff. I was good on that level. The real challenge for me was getting out in the field and practicing. But that was also the area where I saw the most potential for business building and also the most potential for growth as a person. If I read and studied and listened to every single training under the sun, if I didn't go out and put into practice, it wouldn't have done much for me. If I didn't go out and, connect with other people to mentor and coach and train them, wouldn't have meant as much for me. I would have lost those relationships that I built from connecting with other people, and I would have lost the personal development that comes with teaching other people, that comes with practicing and speaking with other people. So you've got to put things into practice. So you go to the classes and workshops, you learn stuff, and there's going to be some stuff on there that's hard for you to put into practice. For me, I was terrified of the field time. I didn't want to talk to people. And I know that that's how you grow this business, but I was just like so terrified of rejection and of the no and of what people would think of me and all the things that we tell ourselves. And I had to a lot of times psych myself out, just play mind games with myself. I would go out and do things like, okay, find every person who's wearing a hat, every person who's wearing red, find those people and say something to them. In the beginning, it was just a hi, how are you? I loved your earrings. I couldn't even get to the point where I could say, here's a free sample, or here's a catalog, or would you like to see a Avon brochure? For me, the hardest thing was connecting that hi, hello to the business. And I couldn't figure out for a long time how to do it. But eventually I was able to learn how to do it because I kept practicing. Hi, how are you? Hey, good morning. Hi, I love your earrings. Or those are really cute shoes. Where did you get them from? And as I started to practice that, I realized that I could develop a conversation. And then once I felt comfortable and talking to people and realizing that I wasn't bursting into a ball of flames, that, people weren't looking at me. I'm from New York, so, we're nice, but it takes a little extra to get people's attention sometimes. So I found that that people weren't looking at me like I had two heads when I said good morning or gave them a compliment. And that, emboldened me a little bit to say something else, to keep the conversation going a little bit longer. And it took me a long time to go from just saying hello to a stranger to building more than a 5-minute conversation to the point where I could share my business and tell them what I did for a living and, about myself. So it came with practice. I am not going to tell you it was easy. There were times where I was physically shaking because I was so scared. But it came because I had the practice and I kind of forced myself to go out there and do it. So you have to just do it. You have to realize that you're not going to burst into a ball of flame. When I go out with my team, we have those moments where I kind of start to lead by example, and then I encourage them, go talk to that person, or go stand away from the table. Go stand over there. You stand there, and I'll stand here, and we'll talk to people as they come by. And I could see myself in them. I could see the timidity, I could see the fear, and I could see the nervousness. And that moment where they hand the brochure to a person, and maybe the person takes it, maybe the person does it. Regardless, after I always say to them, "You're right there. Are you bursting into a ball of flame? You're gonna disappear on me, or you're good?" And usually they kind of laugh it off like, yes, I'm fine, because there's that scary anticipation in the beginning, but after the moment passes and you realize that it's not as bad as you thought, you're kind of like, yeah, I'm okay. It's okay, Georgie. Stop patting me down. I'm not gonna cry. So, that you just have to overcome that initial fear, and that only comes by doing what you have to do. I'm pretty sure. I mean, have you seen these linebackers? I mean, to stand in a line facing these guys, knowing that they're gonna run at me and hit me on purpose, that is something that I think could terrify almost anybody. But you do it day in, day out, game after game. It becomes like, yeah, okay, he's big, but I'm big and tough too. I got this. And again, comes with practice. So some of the things that you can practice are writing. I started off with writing. So I wrote down a 20-second intro as well as like a 5-minute spiel. So my 20-second intro is something that I use like at networking events. When people might ask, like, what do you do for a living? I might say something like, oh, I help change women's lives, or I help empower women to be financially independent. Or it might just be, depends on the atmosphere, but it might say, I'm a beauty boss. I'm Avon independent sales representative. I'm a trainer, a coach, a mentor. It varies with who I'm talking to. It varies with my mood. It varies with the atmosphere. But in the beginning, I picked one or two that I liked the sound of, and I wrote it down. And I read it so that when the moment came where someone asked me what I could do, what I did for a living, it wasn't, like, oh, there's this sort of kind of Avon thing that I kind of do sometimes on the weekends, but I'm an architect by day, and I do this Avon thing on the side. It was a little more linear because I knew this is how I start the sentence, this is the middle of my sentence, this is my closing. And I usually tend to close with something like, well, what do you do? I usually try to flip it back to them to get the dialogue going. But there are still some times where I might get caught off guard, where I'll be in an atmosphere that's not like a work or networking situation, where someone will say to me, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, wait, what? Oh, I'm on? Yes, what was that sentence? But it helps to have that thing that I can go back to. Otherwise, I know I would be on the spot because it doesn't come easy to me to do the public speaking. So I recommend that you write down your 20-second intro and a 5-minute spiel. A 5-minute spiel is what usually comes after. You say, I help empower women to be financially independent. And then you flip it back like, well, what do you do? They might say, I'm a lawyer, but what do you mean financially independent? And, they usually ask to dive a little deeper. And then I'll go into, well, I'm a representative with Avon. I have a team of men and women that I coach and mentor to be financially independent by building and developing their own Avon business. I'm summarizing here for you guys now, but my point is that that's like a paragraph, but not a full-on, my name is Georgiana, I am an Avon representative, kind of presentation. It's more, just a further explanation of what I do. I also have as well, I've developed over the years, I didn't list it here because it's something that you might develop it if you can now, work on it, but I didn't use it until later on in my business. I started off with 20-minute and like 5-minute. It's not even really 5, it's maybe like 3 minutes because people's attention span are even shorter nowadays. But the 20-minute spiel was I am Avon representatives. I'm an independent Avon representative, Georgiana Haynes. I have started Avon in this in time, and I did this in high school, and I did this in college, and then I became the full this is my Avon story. And that's what I would give usually at Avon events, when I have sip and shops or Avon parties. And even that has been refined over the years because my story has changed. My experience has changed. The things that I have accomplished in my business has changed. My comfort level has changed. So there were things that I said in the past that were cookie cutter because I knew I just needed to feel comfortable saying it. And now there are things that I say because I'm a little more comfortable. So, I could, joke and make fun of myself in a conversation, and it's not such a big deal. There are also events that I've had the pleasure of being blessed to speak at. I gave my story at 2 recent leadership events that we had last year. The Boss Life Tour, we had a gathering in Manhattan, and I was invited to speak, and that presentation that I gave, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. That was a version of my longer spiel. So it helps to have a variety of spiels written down so that you can just practice and go through them. And every time I do a presentation, I write it down. You guys see here, even when I'm doing my ANTS team live training, I block out an outline of notes so that I kind of have an idea of what I'm talking about, because it takes some of the pressure off of, where am I? What am I going to be talking about today? I kind of have formulated a beginning, middle, and end from the beginning. So I recommend doing that to take some of the pressure off. Also, role play with other people, especially in the beginning. Find a friend or family member to bounce ideas off of or practice with. Practice in the mirror. We've talked about this in past ANTS Team Live trainings. When you watch yourself in the mirror, you kind of see your reactions, your facial expressions, and you could tweak it so that when you're talking to another live human being, you're not like, I am an Avon representative, I love my job, because it's not going to come across the way that you want it to. So, sometimes just seeing yourself helps you to catch those moments where you're like, I look like I'm in pain when I say that. Let me try that again, So, speak with people, role play, and once you've gotten a little more comfortable, sometimes even with my family, I might say something because on paper it looks great, and when I say it to myself, it sounds great, and then when I say it to them, it's full of Avon jargon, and they're like, what's a RPS? What's a PRP? What are you talking about? And then I realize, okay, I've got to go back and refine, because a normal person who's not in this business won't know what I'm talking about. And again, to this day, just last year, I sent a text out to a few of my friends like, hey, read this for me and tell me how it sounds to you. Some of them wrote back like, are you trying to get me to sign up to sell Avon? I'm like, no, just read the thing. I need your feedback, because I want to know how this will sound to a person who's not been in Avon for 35 years and doesn't know all this terminology. Because as reps, when we are like deep in and involved, we might get used to the terms and the way that we speak, our Avon speak, but nobody else knows what we're talking about. So if we're going out in the field and talking to people and using all these terms that they don't get, their eyes are going to glaze over and we're going to wonder what's going on. But if you practice ahead of time, just find a few friends that you could bounce a few ideas off. If they come back to you like, I don't know what you're talking about, what's a Premier kit? What? Then you have to refine. So even that refinement will help you when you're out in the field, because you're confident that what you're saying, it makes sense to you and it makes sense to other people. And I have revised and refined the things that I say, and I tell you guys, it depends on different atmospheres. But that came from being out in the field. If you put me behind an Avon table, I can usually, put together a string of things to say. And if you're a part of my team and you've come to these events with me, you'll realize that a lot of things I say I'm repeating over and over and over and over again. But by repeating it, I can get concise with it. I can take out the Avon jargon and speak on the level that the other person will understand. But also for myself, I know, like on the Avon drawing forms, if you gave me that form in Spanish, I could walk you through. I may not know the exact words, but I know what is on the paper. I know what question number 1 is, number 2 and number 3 is. If it was in Chinese or Russian, I would know what question 1, 2, and 3 is, because I've done it so much in the field. So you have to, beyond practice, go out in the field and do it with strangers. Say it over and over and over again to different people. Practice your spiel to random people walking by that you're sitting next to on the train, that you're encountering at the supermarket, because you will be able to watch their facial expressions and gauge what their reactions, and the little things like them leaning back like this, when you're talking to someone, if they're looking at you like this, something is not connecting, or they've got some type of barrier up. You'll develop skills and habits on how to overcome that. But you can't see that, this expression and say, oh, okay, no, they don't want anything to do with me. I'm leaving. I'm panicking. I'm freaking out. I'm going to make this stop. Push a little further. And, I've been taught that if a person is looking at you like this and leaning away, you might want to mimic that. Maybe they're not face talkers and you're a little too close. Maybe you just need to lean back too. Or if their hands are crossed, I usually hand them something, because when someone gives you something, what is the first thing you do? You uncross your hands and reach out. So that creates like some opening up. If a person I see is kind of looking at me with the eyebrows furrowed and this confused look, I might stop and say, okay, I've lost you. Where did I lose you? What part did you get confused on? Let me backtrack. And then they'll say, well, you said PRP and I didn't know what that was. So instead of me going in for half an hour with my 30-minute spiel and they're stuck on what's PRP, then, I could stop, address the issue, and then, they'll be with me as we move forward together. So all of that comes with practice. Trust me, not something that I'm used to, not something that I get, not something I was born with, not something that comes easily to me. It came from trainings and workshops. And that thing of, giving someone something to hold when they cross their hands and lean back, that's something that I learned from attending an Avon meeting. We had a district manager who we were all practicing role playing, and she did this. And we were like, you don't like this Avon thing we're doing? And she taught us, when someone crosses their hands and, it just seems aloof, it might help you to hand them something for them to look at, whether it's a brochure or a sample. They're going to uncross their hands to take that thing from you. They might take it and cross their hand back, but usually they'll take it and then, take whatever it is and then look at it. So arms uncrossed, a little bit more of an opening feeling. So basically practice with people. Thirdly, one of the other things that I get big time from sports like football and baseball and basketball is the importance of teamwork. It is so hugely important. That quarterback, he's not making it to the other side of the field if the running back, the linebacker, and all the other names I don't know aren't protecting him and distracting the other players or being there to pass the ball around to so that he can get into the end zone and do his touchdown. I believe that's how it is. Or maybe the quarterback throws the ball, whatever. But the point is, it's a team sport. Every person is in there pulling their weight. I have a quote on my website, on my team page that says, it's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. We want to go far. We don't want to go fast. We do want to build our business quickly if we can, and that's why we have programs like Kickstart. But we want to go further. We don't want to just, title up and then drop back down. We want to title up and stay there or move forward the next year and the year after that. You want to have growth. And that comes from being connected because, first of all, I recommend you get connected to other people. Get plugged in, surround yourself with other like-minded people, other people who are on the road to success. And you guys know why I say that because we talk about it all the time. But you want yourself to get plugged in because you need to feed yourself. We were talking earlier about having the proper nutrients that, football players, they've got to eat right and exercise and all of that. You need to do that and, as a way to build yourself up, to keep yourself in the right mindset. So surround yourself with other people who are on the right path. But also, your team should also be working with you. And this is something that transparency 100% here, that I struggle with because I felt like, everything is on my shoulders. If we're going to succeed, then I have to be doing everything. And I'm learning more and more that it's a team sport, that other leaders, other representatives on my team need to pull their own weight. And it was a eye-opening moment for me because I was that person who was like, okay, yeah, let's all label your brochures together and let's all, do every single event together. And I will show you how to do, not so much show you how to do everything, but, come to me, I'll do it. If you need help with that, I'll do it for you. I'll help you. And in my mind, even now when I'm saying it, I'm like, I'll do it for you. I'll help you. But I learned over the years in, my entire life in Avon. I feel so old sometimes when I'm talking. But I mean, not to say I have all this experience because I'm learning stuff as I go, but one of the things I had to learn was the difference between doing something for someone and empowering them to do it themselves. And a lot of times I'll work with new representatives and they'll ask me how to do something. The easiest thing to do is for me to do it for them. Like, oh, you want to know how to find a product? Let me go into your Avon.com and look for it for you and just send you the product number. But now it takes more time, but I'm trying to shift into the mindset of teaching a man to fish instead of what's the saying? If you give a man a fish, you fed him for a day. If you teach a man to fish, you fed him for his life. I'm trying to get in the mindset of teaching people to fish. And sometimes it's frustrating and sometimes it takes a little longer than we would like because, they're like, why don't you just tell me? And I'm like, because if I tell you, you won't know how to do it. And then 3 weeks from now, when you need to find another product, you'll still be coming to ask me. And we kind of talked about this a few weeks ago about being independent. And me wanting my team, if God forbid, knock on wood, anything happens to me, I want my team to be able to function on their own and still be successful on their own and still be able to build successful businesses as successful leaders on their own. I don't want them to have to rely on me. I want to be there for them, to help them and guide them and mentor them, but I have to teach myself the difference between showing and demonstrating and teaching and coaching and mentoring and doing for. Sometimes a quick, fast, and easy way to do it is, oh, you just do this. Let me take that from you, and I'll do it. Okay, there, it's done. Goodbye. Yeah, that would be the easy way to do it, but and it's the way that we kind of want to do it sometimes because we know it's faster and we feel like we're helping the person more because they've got the answer that they wanted quick, fast, and hurry. But sometimes it's about the development. So now when a person asks me, how do I do this? I send instructions. And they're kind of looking at it like, I know, they're looking at it like, I just wanted the item number. You're telling me to go onto your Avon.com into my order? That's not what I asked. But 3 weeks from now, when another customer comes and is looking for a different product, they've got that list of instructions that they can go to and say, okay, this is how they do it. For leaders, it used to be, oh, okay, yeah, let's go prospecting. I talk to everyone. I give the contact information. Like, these are the people that want to sign up. Just call them. Oh, you didn't call them? Okay, I'll message them and I'll create a meeting. Oh, okay. So this is the day we're gonna meet. This is the people who are coming. Just come. Now we're gonna do the presentation. Okay, you sit there. I'll do the presentation for you. Okay, these are people that you're gonna work with. But it wasn't the right way to do it. So now when I go out in the field, I demonstrate. And like I said earlier, I might, say, you stand there and I'll stand here. Let's back away from the table for a minute and we'll both practice talking to people. How do you feel about talking to people? Where were your areas of comfort or discomfort? What are things that we can work on? All right, now it's time to call people. Let's sit down together and call. How do you feel about calling? These are the things that I'm saying. Do you feel comfortable saying that? All right, when are you free to meet? Contact your people. Let's schedule a meeting. You make a meeting. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's not just me. And it is hard because you realize that there are some people who you were dragging. And then the moment you stop moving, they stop moving too. And then you're like, okay, what's happening here, guys? We only move if I move. That's not the way this is supposed to work. But it was eye-opening for me. So just like the teams in football who work with each other, this is very much a team sport. The whole team needs to work together. The whole team needs to pull their weight. We rely on each other for support, and we rely on each other for coaching and mentoring and encouragement, but we are each pulling our own weight. And things move so much smoother. Things move so much smoother when that's happening, because when you're doing for yourself, I talk to you guys now about the obstacles I've overcome with being able to speak on my own. And I remember there are times where, my district manager left me to talk to strangers by myself, and I was so panicked. But that experience showed me that I can talk to strangers. I can do events by myself. And now if something happens where I have to set up a table or do an event by myself, I'm not terrified because I've done it before and I know that I can do it. So I grew from other people kind of pushing me out of the nest, so to speak. So when you have something that you're doing, and it might be scary or intimidating at first, but if you keep relying on other people to do it, and not doing it yourself, then you're not going to learn or grow. So it needs to be everybody kind of pulling their own weight and working together. So if you're one of those people who you're like, yeah, I'm not pulling my own weight, that's the other person's job to do this for me. And I've met people like, oh, no, I don't put in my own orders. My district manager does it for me. I'm like, now we're kind of like on the other end of that, looking back, 2020 hindsight. But in the moment, you're like, well, if your district manager is ill, who's going to put in your order? What are you going to do? How do you can't function like that. You're not independent. So you have to be in a mindset where you are a part of a team. You're working with your teammates, but you're independent and pulling your own weight as well. I can imagine if that quarterback, ball goes up in the air. I think the quarterback throws the ball initially, right? So could you imagine if everybody on the team says, he got it? It's going to be a fumble. It's going to be a disaster. We had a couple of fumbles this past Sunday, but it's going to be a disaster because each team member has a role to play. They know what their job is and they do it. If they don't, then the whole team suffers. So we have to get in that mindset where we're like, we are part of a team. Whether it's an Avon team, you may or may not have an upline, but you're a part of the whole entire Avon engine. You're a part of your community as a business owner and person who's creating job opportunities and servicing your customers. You're part of your customer community. It's your job to provide the orders for your customers. So we have our roles to play, just like the football players have their roles to play. We have to step up into those roles and assume our position and carry our own weight with poise and elegance. So those are sort of my 3 tips, my 3 inspirational moments that I got from watching the game this Sunday and, comparing my business to the sports thing. So I hope you guys are also seeing the similarities and also taking this moment to reflect on yourself and say, okay, what can I do differently? How can I seize this as an opportunity to grow and move my business forward? What are the 3 to 5 things that I've gotten out of this that I'm going to apply moving forward? Because again, you could come, sit here and listen, but if you don't apply any of the action steps, then, what is it? So I see the chat box going, so let me go all the way back and see what's happening here. So we've got some wins for the week. So Miss Anitra, all right, let's see. Miss Anitra is celebrating 2 new customers. So congratulations, Miss Anitra. Now I'm sure, Miss Anitra, am I wrong, or were these people who just decided to come looking for an Avon representative that found you out of the blue, or did you take an action step to find them? And if so, please share with us, what was it that you did? Were you sharing your brochure, sharing samples? Were you building your website and your social media? We're curious to know what your action steps were to getting your customers. Miss Kathleen, yes, Miss Anitra, Miss Avon lady, make that money. Miss Kathleen says Aspira is growing her business. So Miss Kathleen is promoting our new health and wellness line, Aspira, and she's finding new customers that way. Awesome, Miss Kathleen. Congratulations to you. Miss Kathleen also says, yeah, we have to participate in the Avon training, the opportunity to receive the information and help grow our Avon business. And I like, even before I got to the section about talking about teamwork, Miss Kathleen said, this is the information to help us grow our business, not grow our business for us. So thank you, Miss Kathleen. Great minds think alike. She also says that your mindset is the key to success, and it really is. You really have to be in that, I'm in it to win it mindset. And trust me, sometimes I go through periods where it's a little hard to see that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's raining now. You're like, I don't see any rainbows or pots of gold. I see rain and snow and sleet and hail. Fire and brimstone. Everything is just not working the way I want it to. But you have to, fight through. And that's where, for me, being surrounded by other positive people has really come to help, because those are the people who, when I'm going through it, I'm like, look, I'm just not in the mood right now. It's not going the way I want it to go. I don't want to talk about this. And they'll send me a positive message or an encouraging word. And I shout people out as I go, because, my brothers and sisters have come to support me, and sometimes they don't even know what I'm going through. They just share something with me, but it's because I believe in the mastermind mindset. When you're surrounded by a group of people, you will kind of vibrate at the same wavelength. So sometimes they might share something with me that they just found as inspiring, that they just wanted to put out there to share, but it's something that I just needed to hear. So that comes from being surrounded with other people who are on the same path as me, who are also on, the positivity, hardworking mindset. I get nothing from people who are doing nothing with their life because they've got nothing to give. So, make sure you've surrounded yourself with the right people. Thank you, Kathleen. That is a really great point. And invite, yes, Miss Kathleen, invite people to look at your brochure, look at your samples, to come to your events and, connect with you, because that's what this is all about. Thanks again, Miss Kathleen. She says what helps her interact with other potential customers is that she wears her Avon clothing, which is her walking billboard, her advertising. Yes, agreed. I'm right there with you. And then the conversation begins, because then she could say, Avon sells fashion and shoes and handbags, and then she could get them a sample and a brochure. So that's great. Yeah, be your own billboard, because that is, and Miss Kathleen, that was another way that I would help start the conversation, because I was big on the Avon jewelry growing up, because I was, 17, the anti-aging wasn't doing anything for me really that I could say, yeah, look how great my skin is. I'm 17, I have no wrinkles. But I would wear the jewelry, and I would find other people wearing jewelry, and I would compliment them on their jewelry. And I would say, oh, that's a beautiful ring, where did you get that? And they would say, wherever. They might flip it back to me and say, yeah, I like your bracelets too, where did you get those? And then I could say, I'm an Avon representative, hand them a catalog. Avon shoes and clothing is really great, because a lot of people don't realize that Avon sells those things. Um, so yeah, Ms. Natasha, we got to keep it real with ourselves, because we do play those mind games. We don't want to play ourselves. Yeah, we all have. And don't take this as me like beating you guys over the head, like, this is what you have to do. You're bad if you're not doing the trainings, blah, blah, blah. This is a moment of course correction. We all deviate, and we all get sidetracked, and we all get thrown off. But the important thing is to get back on the path, to get, to stay on the journey. And sometimes we have to have those moments where, like, okay, I know I'm playing myself. Let me get back to work. Miss Anitra. So Miss Anitra said that she found the 2 new customers by leaving the brochures in a daycare. And so now that she left her brochure, that was her action step. The whole staff of the daycare loves Avon. So she's starting to build her customers. And so far she's gotten 2 orders. So I actually think, Miss Anitra, you're probably going to have more customers beyond that, because, you've got your little staff group, but you also have the potential for referrals and friends and family members who come out of that. So awesome job, Miss Anitra. Thank you for sharing your action steps as well, so that other people can find inspiration in that. So yeah, that's our chat for tonight. Keep it real with yourself. I know we play these games, but course correct. Use these steps, preparing in the beginning, making your game plan, and writing your goals so that you can see them, practicing, being out there in the field. If you're not out there practicing your business, you're not going to see the growth you want to see. And then work as a team. Get plugged in. Get plugged into networking events. Avon has the Boss Life Tour coming back again, and it's going to be in even more locations. So get onto your Avon.com and see where there are more tours in your area. Reach out to other people that you've attended the events with, maybe even, and invite them to join you. So, it's like when you're going to the gym and you don't want to go, but your friend is calling you like, are you going? Are you going? Are you going? Are you going? Partner up with someone and be that one who's like, are you going? Because I'm going. And keep each other accountable. If you're a leader, reach out to your team, your team, the people you're mentoring, and invite them. Like Miss Kathleen says, invite. Sometimes as new reps, they don't know what's available to them, so it's up to us as leaders to keep inviting them and showing them what's possible out there. And also, when you're there and you're having events, guys, post pictures, share on social media, share with your team. I don't have it here, but my Christmas card that I sent out to my team last year, I included, yeah, I don't have it here with me. I included on the left-hand panel a couple of pictures from events that I attended. But I would love to have more photos from my teammates. So guys, if you're watching and you're doing events, post your pictures, share them, whether it's in our group page or on your Facebook page, but show other people how much fun you're having with your business, because a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know that Avon provides free training. A lot of people don't know that our training is actually fun and you get free stuff, and we go and we have a good time. Miss Kimberly on our team, I don't know if she's back yet, but Miss Kimberly always wins stuff. Whenever we have an event, she goes and she wins stuff. We take that picture, we post on social media, and that starts the conversation. Where are you getting all this free stuff from? My Avon business. I actually have a video that, oh yeah, this Friday I'm gonna be doing something different, but I got a lot of products that I mentioned to you guys. I got a lot of products from Avon for entering one of the online competitions where they ask you to post a photo using hashtag blah blah blah. I did two, and I don't know if I shared this with you, but I just want another one. So I have more stuff to share with you guys, and I'm going to do a Facebook Live right here on my channel this week Friday, after class, because I'm in class again. So I'll be posting a time to be sharing with you guys, and I'm going to get on here to the public and share all the great, amazing jewelry and goodies that I got from Avon. But, you know, share these things. Be excited about it. In this business, it's very much a networking business. You've got to surround yourself with other people. Last week, we talked about getting plugged into your community so that you can meet new customers, but also get plugged into your business community. Even if it's Avon or something else that you're doing, get plugged into the community so that you can learn and grow and encourage other people. For me, the classes were invaluable. Everything that I say to you, everything that I teach and coach and mentor on is something that I've been inspired by someone else, that I've heard someone else say, that I've seen someone else doing, that made its mark on me, that caused me to, you know, regurgitate it or represent it to you guys. I don't come up with all this stuff on my own. I'm not that smart. But it comes from the training that I receive for free from Avon and the training that I seek out through other professional and personal development sources. So I encourage you guys, if you don't have any wins for the week, then don't play yourself. Look and see if you have the action steps to create wins. Miss Anitra gave out brochures, so she found new customers. If you're looking and you're like, you know, I don't really feel like I know what I'm doing, ask yourself, have you done the trainings? Are you going to the workshops? Are you reading all the tools and materials that are available to you? If you're stuck and maybe you can't find customers, or if you're having trouble building your team, been there. I know what you're going through. What did I do? I went online and I Googled a bunch of different resources. And there are a ton of them out there, variety of resources that you can look into. Pull one or two things and put it into practice in your business. And that will help you grow your business and move forward. A lot of the ladies that I watch here on Facebook are people that I found because I was looking for ideas for what to do for my business, what to do when I heard a certain thing from a customer, or if I was in a certain circumstance. And that's why Jessica Z and I do Avon calling, because we were plugged in, we were in community with each other, and we realized in talking to each other that we were going through a lot of the same obstacles, that there were other representatives going through the same things as us, that we had a lot of similarities in struggles and success stories in our business, and we didn't know unless we spoke to each other. So now we are working with Avon Calling as a channel to get representative stories out there to you guys as inspiration, as sources of ideas, and even so that you could see, look, here is a person just like me, a student, a single mom, a person who's holding down 3 or 4 jobs, a retiree, whatever, a woman, a man who's just like me, and they're making this work, they're building their business and finding success. They are, also a President's Club member for the first time this year, like Miss Karen that we just had, and, they're moving on to the next level. I can do that too, but you get that inspiration from being plugged in, and if you're not, you're going to miss out on that. So it's free. Don't miss out on that. All right, guys. So that is our discussion for tonight. Yeah, Miss Kathleen, I'm going to be doing, this is the first time that I've done like an unboxing video opening haul live. So hopefully it goes without a hitch. And if not, then I'll be doing a coaching and training on how to overcome that obstacle. So, thank you guys for watching. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. We will be back here next week because we don't have home office training. So tune in next week, 8 o'clock here on my page, Avon by Georgiana, and I'll be going through more stuff and more ideas that will hopefully encourage and inspire you. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye.